But
and that's the whole point of the Free State Project and the project that you've gotten started on, is that in any decision about your life, either you can make that decision or you can let the government make the decision for you. And I stopped letting Mom and Dad make decisions for me when I was in college. Mom probably insists that I started a lot earlier than that. She tells me frequently that my first word was down.
No.
Down. I wanted to be down, walking around and exploring my world on my own. And that's ultimately what all of us deserve. It is a philosophical right. That's what the Declaration of Independence talks about. And I'm determined to do what I can. And being able to, I've promised myself that I'm going to restore the constitutional republic. But, even New Hampshire is a little bit too big. So if we can start with one county and I can help to restore a constitutional government in one county in Texas, I'll be really proud with that. And I'm sure that there will be other counties that follow our lead, follow our example. And that's usually what it takes. It just takes one person or one group of people to start the ball rolling, demonstrate that it will work, and the next thing you know, everybody's using a hula hoop.
That's it.
So
we can be an example for the whole country to look up to, and that's what. Well, I'm sure that's what it's going to be, because the people that we have coming are all individuals. They all are moral. They're decent people. They're hardworking people, and most of them have families. And that's what they're going out there for their families, because they don't want their families to be just hogtied all the time by every government rule. Think about it. Your kids have to wear knee pads and helmets to ride a bicycle.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back in about 4 minutes. Please give us a call. Tell us what you think about this wild project. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is our country.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and all around the world, you are listening to Michael Badnarik here on GCNlive.com. I am the defender of everybody's individual rights, regardless where you live. And we are here talking to Linda Honeycutt about a new project. How long ago did you come up with this idea, and who's helping to promote it?
Well, there's 5 of us grannies working on it. And then we've got 2 couples in Texas working on it that are actually going out there and scouting around. It's only been going on for like 2 weeks now. We just when the day we talked, we just started it the week before.
So, all right.
This is brand new. We haven't really had time to think yet.
And you've had 300 people respond already. That's pretty quick response time.
I know. I was like overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh. But that's what it's going to take, I think. And most of these people realize the danger we're in. They've all got, and every one of them, when they write, they say, and we've got food stored. We've got enough food to last us at least a year. So, people are ready. They're taking, I guess, they're not playing around. They know something serious is going to happen.
Well, some people do, and there are a number of people who are learning about the situation. I've been speaking with a person who called recently. They discovered Ron Paul about 3 or 4 months ago and discovered me about 4 weeks ago. And the conversation was very, very, it concerned me greatly because they live in a major city. They are currently unemployed, partially based on the type of work that they do and partially based on just the poor economy right now.
Yeah.
And, they had never considered storing up food or, the place they live would never allow them to have a gun legally. And it was very disturbing to me to realize that, this person has no job, no money, no food, no protection, and is just discovering about all of this stuff. I'm concerned about myself and my family and doing as much as I can about that. But there are going to be people who are completely unprepared, and they're going to suffer greatly when all this economic collapse happens.
I know, and it's not just that. Even good people, when they see their family hungry and doing without, they're going to find a way of getting whatever they need. It's going to make criminals out of a lot of people, and it's sad, but that's what's going to happen. And I have yelled for years now, store food. It doesn't matter, All the old people, every farmer you ever knew growing up, when fall came, their pantries were loaded. They had enough food to go through the winter. They could survive. It was just normal, natural. Now, of course, you're a hoarder if you have more than 2 weeks' worth of groceries. But that's not the way this country was started. We were all pretty much independent at one time, and now we've just become dependent on somebody handing us the food or handing us $1 so we could go to the grocery and pay for the food. In fact, you can pay for food that kills you and makes you stupid. That's a great bargain.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you have anybody else on the list, and you don't have to give a name, but do you have anybody else who has selected a job that they will be doing in this county?
Actually, no. I shouldn't say no. They're electricians, and they've all volunteered to do all the electrical work, and they've also decided that they're not going to put any power poles on the properties. None. That way nobody has a right, they don't have any right-of-way or easements to worry about. And I had never thought about that, because if you have a light pole next to your house, of course the electric company has a right to come in and read your meter. So they're working on that. There's 3 guys working on that. So hopefully we'll be independent altogether. Our power, our water, and of course we'll have all of our food. And you got that many people working together, there's not going to be a problem. If somebody runs out of something, somebody else will have it,
Right.
It's got to be like the old communities. If my grandmother ran out of sugar, she'd say, "Linda, go down to Ethel's house and give me a cup of sugar." It was no big deal. It was so normal and so natural, and we've just gotten out of that, and we've got to get back to that kind of mentality. That's the only thing that's going to save us, I think.
I have encouraged my listeners to hold block parties and get to know their neighbors so that they can establish that social safety net, because I think we're going to be needing it pretty desperately here. Oh,
I think so too. You always need to know your neighbors. You need to know who you can depend on. There's going to be so many things happening. I just don't know how. I don't know how people in cities are going to survive. I really don't. Even if they have food stored up, what are they going to do for water? You can only store so much water. And power goes down, you have no water, you have no sewer. It'll be like it was in the old England, where you dumped your slop jar in the street. It's going to be a bad situation for all these people living in these apartment buildings, and, well, even in the suburbs, too. It's going to be rough, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be rough for those of us who were Boy Scouts and learned how to, build fires and survive and find water. But for people who have never experienced that at all, it's going to be
catastrophic.
It's going to be a living nightmare. And it amazes me how unprepared some people are, how unaware they are of where their resources come from. When I was living in California, there was a big fire that was burning through some of the wires, and there were brownouts. The power would come on and go off, on and off. And so I decided to take the day off because, you can't work on a computer that's constantly rebooting.
Right.
And I stopped for gas. Well, I mean, even I felt rather silly because it never dawned on me that the gas pump was computerized.
Yeah.
And so the gas pump was, flashing zeros at me. So I walked into the office to ask them to reset my pump, and as I'm standing in line, all the lights went out. I mean, everything just went dark and quiet. Well, there's no point in me asking my question anymore because, there's been a power outage. And some woman came rushing in, and she says, I can't pump any gas. And I said, well, there's been a power outage. She goes, but I have cash. And I stared at her. I tried to explain that, it doesn't matter if she's got gold bullion. So
people are like, when you talk to these adults, I mean, these adults are raising children themselves, and the adults have a childlike mentality.